Okay, so a look at Doom, the closed beta at 21:9. So Doom is back after a long stint away, and it's come in a load of gory, fast-paced action, not far from Unreal Tournament, something I've played a lot more of recently than I have Doom. And it's created an interesting adrenaline rush of a game. However, the question I have is it all over too fast? Is the in-game development and complexity just too simple? Anyway, before we continue into my thoughts, after playing the closed beta for a few hours, I'll cover the technical side first, of which the most glaring issue will already have hit you. It's locked at 16:9, and there is no way, at least yet, to make it ultra-wide. And the technical issues don't stop here. But I suppose we shouldn't be that surprised. Bethesda has a continued horrendous ability to create games that are technically weak. They usually have great content, but running them is infamously horrendous, and this is no different. Now, putting the lack of ultra-wide support aside for now, yeah, I know it's a bit horrendous having 16:9 content on this channel, but we have no choice, and can only hope that they actually spend time developing a decent PC port for the full release. Let's cover some of the settings that we do have the ability or don't have the ability to change in-game. So there is no FOV slider. I actually had to stop playing in more than 30-minute bursts as the FOV was far too low for my setup, which, if it is not rectified for final release, will mean the game will never get played by me, even if it has ultra-wide support, as I feel physically sick playing at this level. The performance of the game is poor. For one, it's locked to 60 FPS, which is very frustrating, though at least it's not 30, I suppose. You can't turn anti-aliasing off unless you force it off in NVIDIA control panel. There is mouse lag, which I thought was down to VSync still being on, even though I turned it off in the settings menu. So I went to NVIDIA control panel, forced VSync off, but still got mouse lag, and it seems that the mouse lag is linked to anti-aliasing somehow. Anyway, with my 980 Ti, I can run this steadily at 60 FPS at 1440p, 16:9, but I have read a lot of issues for any lower graphics cards, even 980s struggling, so it clearly is lacking some optimization. Now, most glaringly, like I've pretty much said, there are zero graphics options. There is an advanced tab, which we can't access currently, which bodes well for actual settings options in the full release, but we can't see what will be contained there yet. The actual game graphics are good, nothing special. They look good when you're moving, as you have shooting all over the place and the inability to turn off motion blur, which I know will frustrate quite a lot of people, which masks the graphics somewhat. But the second you stop moving and take a good look at the environment, you can really see it's nothing spectacular. It's not bad, and it works well to make you believe the world you're in, but I don't know, I felt it lacked that final flair to it. I did have a lot of glitching around with the score menu in-game. When playing, you hit tab once to see it and tab again to hide, but trying to view it once dead causes it to spam in and out uncontrollably. But it is a beta, so it's understandable. Anyway, what is very clear here is I actually can't find really anything good to say on the technical side, which is not something I like doing, but we have to face facts. It's the case as it currently stands, but it is a beta, so it's all potentially can be fixed. Now, for the actual gameplay, the closed beta grants access to 2 different maps and 2 different game modes. Both maps played very well for me, however it's extremely clear these are arenas, and whilst I've never really played much Doom previously, hence my relating this to Unreal Tournament, I have read others saying the previous Doom games had their multiplayer maps simply situated within single player levels, so they didn't feel like arenas. So maybe that's just something to watch out for. I personally, as someone who loves COD and pretty much any fast-paced reaction games, Twitch shooters if you will, have really enjoyed playing this despite the numerous technical issues, like being stuck at 16:9. The music really helps add to the demonic atmosphere, and the maps, loaded in blood and devil-related stuff, create fun backdrops to the gameplay. I personally really enjoyed the second game mode specifically, essentially like Hardpoint out of COD, where you just secure a section of the map to stack points. However, this is always moving along a set path, like a train. I certainly preferred how it drew people together rather than Team Deathmatch, where I found it a bit slower and sometimes would be walking around a bit before I found an enemy. The lack of reloading is something I'm so unused to not having, as every modern game just has it. But it works great not having it in this. It really lends itself to keep you switching your weapons, meleeing, jumping around without having to worry about stopping to reload, which would have just broken the game's pace terribly. The glory kills are always good fun, but again I kind of felt something about the graphics was holding the game back from a really beautiful quality. Well, I don't know if beautiful is a good way to describe these blood-soaked levels and violence, but you get what I mean. Again, it's unlikely they would have forced everyone to use ultra settings in the closed beta anyway, seeing as we have no way of changing the graphics options, as that would have meant everyone would have needed serious hardware to play. So it is still possible that we'll have better graphics in the final release. I don't really know what I felt about the demon drop stuff, where a player can become the flying, extremely powerful monster creature that fires rockets and takes loads of damage. It's cool in one way because it creates an enemy that needs a lot of players to focus on to take it down, and can certainly turn the tide in a close fight. But at the same time, it does mean that you can easily get one-shotted by it simply for being near it in ways you would never die from normally, as its rockets have serious splash damage. But I suppose as the beta continues, we'll all make up our minds more on its inclusion in the game. The different weapons all felt very unique. I love the fact that I switched between weapons constantly depending on my location. Shotguns definitely giving you the upper hand in close quarters and having no use in open areas, for example, keeping you on your toes and deciding what weapons and what loadouts you should use. Customization in-game really is limited to cosmetics. Yes, you have the hack module stuff, which people have varied opinions on. I didn't find them amazing or terrible, so I'm kind of neutral on them. You can, though, customize your guns and armor with colors and patterns and age and scratches, of which they're all rather cool, but they don't actually change how they work in game. And it's not like you can actually see them in game. You're only going to really notice your weapon. You're not even going to see your own armor, and you're definitely not going to notice other people's armors and guns, because the action is too fast and explosions fill your vision. So it's really just for your own satisfaction and for while you're in the menus waiting for a match to start. Of course, all this is negligible if 21.9 isn't supported in the final release, as really for me that's the #1 priority. My overall view of playing this so far is it is good fun. You can jump in for one match and leave if you want, or play for hours, but my question really is, what is the longevity? Is there the depth to the game that will mean you keep coming back for more, or will you get tired of the admittedly constantly extremely similar gameplay in every match? Which isn't something I'm too worried about, as I play, like I say, games like COD, Battlefield, games where the gameplay is very similar all the time. But this is all stuff that we can again decide on the full release of the game. And that's really something I want you to remember. Whilst I have listed many issues and potential problems with the title, it's in beta. It's completely expected to have problems and limitations, and opinions on the beta really don't shape your view on the final game. It's completely expected to have problems and limitations, and opinions on the beta really shouldn't shape your view on the final game. I hated the Division's beta, for example, yet loved the final game. So really just treat it as a little taster. Don't allow it to make your mind up for the full game. Anyway, I hope that gives you some information on how the game fails to support 21.9 and my opinions on the beta. Give this video a like if you found it helpful, and subscribe for future info. For any of the games actually running at 21:9, head over to my channel. Hopefully I've covered it. If I haven't, then leave a comment down below and I'll try and cover it. And if you would like to donate to the channel, then links to my Patreon page are in the description. See you later.